All right, questions for Jaylen? Start with Chris Ryan.
Hey, Jaylen, just want to get your thoughts on where you think things are at for the team right now. It looked like a good performance for you guys last night. There's been the COVID situation. What's the sense you get about the group heading into the game against the Sixers?
There's been a lot of ups and downs with the season. Guys have been out. You had to sit out for long periods of times, and we're obviously trying to develop our identity as a team. I think that last night we played a lot of good basketball, and we obviously felt like we could have won that game. We just came up short in the fourth quarter.
Yaron Weitzman.
Hey, Jaylen. So one area where you've made a huge jump this year is the mid-range shooting in terms of just taking them and also hitting them. So I'm curious, one, was that something you worked on a lot in the offseason? What do you attribute that to? And also, given the thinking that threes and layups and all that, how do you kind of go with your approach to when it's a good time to hunt for a three or a layup, or as opposed to kind of take a mid-range shot?
First, off-season was short this year, so
yeah,
it wasn't an off-season to really develop. I think I've always had that in my game, so I'm just being able to display it now. I think that just taking what the defense gives you, I think that's just what basketball is about. And obviously, threes and layups are shots that we want to take that are good for our team. But if I get an open mid-range shot, I feel like that's good for our team too.
Abby Chin.
Hey, Jaylen. I'm just curious about the emotions of yesterday and Inauguration Day after all the work you guys put in the bubble and continue to do. What did it mean to see all of that yesterday?
I think that's a complex question. My dilemma was never with any presidencies or selections of different faces. It's more about the system. I think that needs to be changed. So I definitely think possibly a lot. I mean, I definitely think a lot of people felt at ease knowing that there is a different president that's going to be representing our country going forward. I know there was a lot of stress attached to our former president potentially, but I definitely want to keep the same energy up in terms of having the awareness and pushing for change. We obviously have had glimmers of hope in the past, and they haven't necessarily panned out to any direct change. So I don't want this situation to be any different. I want people to still keep the same energy. And just because we have a new president doesn't mean the system doesn't need to be changed, and people need to be pacified or anything like that. We got to keep the same energy up. People still got to care. People still need to make phone calls, et cetera. So I'm looking forward to continuing to fight for change.
Chris Ryan.
Hey, John, along those lines, and I totally hear what you're saying there. But do you feel that there's more of an opportunity now to be heard, and for that this is kind of a step that needed to be taken in order for you to be heard and for equality to be reached?
You're gonna have to explain what you mean by that question.
That this opportunity with the new administration provides a different ear and kind of a changing of the guard, and somebody that administration may be more receptive to the direction that you want to see taken on equality and justice.
Possibly, like everybody, we all want to be opportunistic, and definitely feel like change is going to come. But I think we've seen this before. I think we've had in the past previous presidents or previous people in place who gave those same glimmers of hope, and people were still dying that should not have been died. The system, people were still being incarcerated at a high rate, and it was still it's still systemic oppression that exists. So I think we've seen these situations before. So I don't want to be pessimistic, but I think now having a new face, people are taking their foot off the gas and thinking that everything is okay now. And I would like to challenge that. I think that we still have a lot of work to do, regardless if Biden and is in office or not.
Bob Schron.
Thanks, Brandon. Hi, Jaylen. You're an extraordinary young man. Just say that first. But to go back to what Yaron Weitzman, back to your basketball career, a couple of years ago when you were coming off the bench, do you remember that? Was there a turning point or something, that inner dialogue that you said to yourself that lifted you to this level where you're really an all-star in my way of thinking? Thank you.
That's a great question. Absolutely. And to be honest, I stopped looking over my shoulder. I've been playing basketball my whole life, and I know what I bring to the table. A lot of times people try to put you into a box or to make you out to be what they feel like you should be. And the less I listened and participated in that, the more I started to thrive and shine. I think most people expected me just to be a defensive player coming into the league and maybe hit a couple of shots or whatever the case may be. And I've been trying to fight to get out of that box my entire life. Yeah, I play defense, but I play offense too.
All right, we're going to wrap it up right there. Thanks, Jaylen.
Thank you.